Oh, it's a good one, Mike.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's a big one, Mike.
Uh-oh.
It's a cobia.
The beauty of the west coast of Florida, you just don't know. Hey gang, I'm in Captiva, Florida, one of my very favorite places here, South Seas Island Resort. One of my favorite dudes here on the whole west coast of Florida, Captain Nick Fisher. What do you think, buddy?
I think we're gonna start offshore. It's been kind of cooler, so we'll probably try out there, see if we can get some snook, maybe grouper, triple tail, you know, just try to get offshore and then let it warm up and we might bounce back in the bay and we'll see what's going on.
We're just going fishing.
We're just going fishing, man.
One of the most versatile places I fish is right here at South Seas Island Resort. Can't wait to see what the good Lord gives us. We ate it. He ate it.
You got it?
Yeah, he did.
Nice.
A little guy.
Little guy. Take opportunity when it's around.
Every time, all the time. Look at that thing. Cool colors.
Yeah.
You know, what's kind of interesting is I was talking to Nick here the last 3, 4, 5 days. We were kind of getting ready for this trip, and you know, he kind of said there was just a lot of options. You know, everything was kind of on the table. The weather's kind of perfect. Fish are in transition. There's a lot of fish around, so we were going to start trying to do some near shore fishing and see what we could come up with in, you know, 20 to 30 foot of water on some of the rock piles just offshore of South Seas Island Resort. Whenever you're running offshore, even inshore, in your bays, you know, check your markers, check your buoys, because these triple tail become very plentiful here. Tasty critter. Attaboy.
Hey, for their size, man, they fight pretty dang hard.
Yeah, this is just a little guy. You can get them super, super big, so it's just a little cat here, but target species here for the morning. Captain Nick Fisher putting us on them quick.
We haven't even made it there yet.
I know it. We ain't got spot one yet.
That's right.
You know, one of the things that kind of drives this bus a little bit is just the opportunity to fish with the right people. And you know, both Nick Fisher and his brother Ozzy, they're just the right people. You know, over the years they've become great friends of mine. I absolutely love coming down here to fish with them. This fishery is so diverse. There's so much going on, the backcountry, the offshore, the near shore, the beaches. There's just fish from front to back. And these guys are so dialed in that you never know what we're gonna get into. And their passion, you know, as you can see, just comes through in everything they do. It just makes for a great day on the water.
So we just came offshore. It's a little bumpy, but it should be nice. It's not too bad. We just came out to some artificial bottom, and basically we're gonna try to bring the bottom to life. The key is, I think, always is just taking your time. Let the fish get acclimated to eating, not getting hooked.
Okay.
And we're gonna sit here and see if we can fire these things up.
I like it. So what's usually here?
You're offshore.
A little bit of everything?
Yeah, offshore. You never know what can pop up and see us. I mean,
I asked you that question, you lit up like a Christmas tree at Times Square, bro. It could be anything.
it could be anything. That's why I love coming offshore, because that's why you brought the whole arsenal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, we got the rods to handle it. All we gotta do is see what's here.
All right.
Let's do it. Come on. Get him, dog.
Oh, that's a big one, Mike.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's a good one, Mike.
Yeah, it is.
It's a cobia.
Oh, nice. Well, you just said you never know what you're gonna catch.
Because that's a big man.
That's a big snook.
We came out here to see if we can get some snook or grouper, and first bait down,
Mr. Cobia.
Mr. Cobia.
That's
Brown bear.
Not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
Little short fella.
Looks done. All right.
That's a nice bonus catch.
Yeah.
Little triple tail action, little cobia. You never know, maybe there's a bigger one here.
Not a bad way to start.
No. Water temps are right, anything is possible out here. There's a little near shore fishing out of South Seas Island Resort. You know, cobia are one of those fish that you know, sometimes it's a little hard to target. Certain times of the year they show up here on the west coast of Florida on the rock piles. It seems like the last couple of episodes that cobia have showed up in, they've kind of been a surprise. You know, today we were expecting more of a snook bite on these near shore rock piles. Nick's been wrecking the snook out there. And you know, one of the last shows I did out of Crystal River, we were planning on catching nothing but gag grouper and we couldn't get away from the cobia. So, you know, I almost categorize these guys as my little surprise fish. Like sometimes I forget that they're there. We're targeting other species and the cobia will just take over the show. It's a great surprise for sure.
The South Seas Island Resort on Captiva Island is a 330-acre wildlife preserve which spans 2.5 miles of pristine white sand beaches. Enjoy some of Florida's best fishing, from snook and tarpon to grouper and kingfish, or play a round of golf overlooking the crystal clear waters of the Gulf of Mexico. The Real Animals Fishing Show can't recommend a better island-style getaway than the South Seas Island Resort.
You know, sometimes I got to remind these guys that, you know, I'm the host. I'm supposed to get to catch a few fish here. But when you're fishing with guys that are that talented, you know, Nick is just a super talented, super energetic. The guy loves what he does for a living. You get him on the water and he gets dialed in, and it's just hard to stop that kid when he gets on a roll. And again. We definitely need to go without the jig head.
Yeah. Be a snook.
Yeah. If that's a snook, it's a monster, bro. I don't think it's a snook.
I hope it is.
I do too.
Cobia.
Nice cobia.
That one's a little bigger.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh boy.
Well, same size.
Huh?
Almost same size.
Same size, you think? I think it's definitely a little bigger.
Yeah. You want me to help land him with your shoulder?
You're good. It is what it is. Old age guy.
That's
Swam
definitely
right in
bigger.
Huh?
That's definitely bigger.
That's definitely bigger. You know what? And again, really, like we were talking before today's trip, you know, lots of grouper, got some snook on this offshore spot. Cobia never came up.
No, I've never, I haven't caught them, but you know.
Never came up.
They, you know, the offshore wrecks were good before this, a couple cold fronts, and hey, that's why you never know when you come out here.
Never know, brother. If we were hungry, we'd be eating well. Today's your lucky day, my big mouth friend there. You know, it's kind of interesting, you know, Nick had had such a great day the day before catching snook on these rock piles with his customers. We kind of thought it was going to be kind of a foregone conclusion that the snook bite was going to be the, you know, the thing to do. And, you know, grouper, cobia, grouper, you know, left just one after another, and we couldn't get the snook bite to go. And then, of course, when we finally do get the snook on, it's absolutely a monster, and he just tears my feelings apart, breaks me down. Still a great bite, but you always hate to lose a fish quite that big. That's a really
Make a
good
better
snook.
assessment.
That's a good snook.
Back drag off.
Well, the good news is that they're only feelings and they'll grow back. You know, when you're cobia fishing, grouper fishing, you're working those rock piles, especially with grouper. You know, you want that drag kind of locked down. Those grouper come out of the holes, they grab that bait and turn and go right down, they dig. And it's great, and that's kind of how we had things set up, because that's the way the bite had kind of laid out. It was, you know, grouper and cobia and grouper. And but for snook fishing, not the best tactic, especially if you're like me and you hook into a really good sized snook. It's not the way you really draw it up.
I'm about to get thumped. If I haven't already.
Get him, get him, get him. Oh, you got him.
It's a grouper.
It's a grouper. And Nick Fisher stays hot. The Nick Fisher Show continues here on World Fishing Network. Here you go, let me help you. That's what I do best, apparently.
He almost got me.
Almost.
Another species to the list for today.
Well, right. Little gag grouper here, not quite legal, but at some point, that is gonna make one heck of a grouper sandwich.
Yes, it is.
Not today, but pretty soon. Attaboy. And the butt whooping continues. That's great. You know, Nick is just a great fisherman. Nick's father was a world-class guide out of South Seas Island Resort. His older brother, Ozzy, is a world-class guide out of South Seas Island Resort. And now, quite frankly, Nick has become a world-class guide out of South Seas Island Resort. And when you have that history, your father, your brother, you know, this fishery, they know it so well. It's a family tie. And you can see that when you're on the water with them. You know, sometimes you put a game plan together and it doesn't really turn out well. Well, when you're fishing with Nick, there's always a backup plan. There's always something you can go do. And that makes it great for me when we're planning this trip to come down here, because even if plan A doesn't work, plan B usually turns out to be something really cool as well. There you go, Mike.
That's a nice snook too.
Is it?
Yep.
He swam out too. Thank God. I was a little slow on the draw again. That's a good
Still
one.
a nice one.
Nice fish. I have a lot of people mention to me that, you know, it seems like you spend a lot of time at South Seas Island Resort.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, if you're watching the show, why wouldn't you?
100%.
Why wouldn't you spend time there? They're hiding tight under that dock.
I was gonna say. There you go.
You know, this area of the west coast of Florida got really, really brutally beat up by red tide. And there's been a pretty long closure on snook, redfish, and trout in this area. And it came up to reopen them about a year ago. And this area got to keep everything closed. Snook, redfish, and trout still closed for harvest in this particular area of the west coast of Florida. And boy, you can really see how that's helped this fishery. I mean, the inshore snook fishing, the red fishing, the trout fishing is absolutely incredible. In other areas of the west coast that they open things up, you don't see the fishing quite recovered to the level that it is down here in Charlotte Harbor. And that's really good to see. And I know that conservation isn't always something that people are happy about. You know, we don't like agencies, the government taking away our fisheries. But in this case, if you spend some time down here, you can really see the value, what it's done to make this fishery what it is today. It's really impressive. Oh, nice turn, nice turn.
Hey, man.
Boy, God, that's fun. Nice job, Nick. This week's Real Animals Tackle Box, Captain Nick and I started in the morning. We were offshore, so we were using the Real Animals Signature Series. This is from Bull Bay Rods. This is the 15 to 30 pound rod. This is a heavy action rod with a fast tip. It's a pretty long rod. It's 8 foot long, but it's great for making long casts offshore if you're fishing for permit or things like that. Gives you some mobility as you work around the boat, over the power poles, things like that. We're using the Penn Clash 2 5000s here with spider wire camo braid, 30 pound class braid. Again, you don't know if you're going to get into big snook, big grouper, cobia, any of those possibilities. You make sure that your line is capable to fight those kind of fish. We're using a 40 or a 50 pound fluorocarbon leader. We're using 5/0 circle hooks with live baits. This is a phenomenal offshore setup. I use it for kingfish, a lot of different species. Makes a great inshore big snook rod as well if you're fishing around the docks. When we got inside tight, we were fishing shallow for speckled trout. Again, went with my Real Animals Signature Series. This is from, again, Bull Bay Rods. This is a 7 foot 2 inch medium weight fast action rod. Long casting. I like the 7.2. 7.2 to me is a great length for if you want to fish some docks, throw artificials, but still want to throw some live bait with a rod. This is a great combination. Here we've got the Penn DX3 Battles. This is a great new reel. I love this reel. Comes in at about 120 bucks. They are holding up great. It's got a great drag on it. Super versatile reel. Really doing a great job for my inshore charters and my inshore tournament fishing. I'm using 10 pound spider wire ultracast Invisibraid here, 25 pound fluorocarbon leader. Now, I've got a 2/0 circle hook tied on here, but what we were using on this day for the speckled trout is the Go-To Mirror Lure Little John. This is a great, great color. And I started out where I was using molting, and Nick went right for the watermelon gold glitter, kind of a really a natural color, kind of a shrimp presentation. They've been on a little bit of a shrimp feed here, so he picked the right color, and this was magical out there. This watermelon copper glitter. It's got a few red flakes in it too, but it's called watermelon copper glitter. 1/4 ounce jig head, making long casts on those shallow waters, working those potholes. This thing was lethal. Get you some of this gear right here to do everything that Nick and I did today on the water. You'd be good to go. You know, it's just such a great experience down here to be able to do what we did today, where we start offshore, rock piles in 25 to 30 foot of water, work our way into docks in 8 to 10 foot of water, and end up in fishing 2 foot or less on the flats on the low tide at the end of the day. You know, having the right boat, having the right guide, all those things put together, you know, the right equipment. I brought the rods for all kinds of different conditions because, again, it's South Seas. You never know what you're going to get when you come here. Just everything came together for just a great, great day on the water.
Good trout.
In the mullet.
A snook?
I think it's a trout.
I thought it was because it was shaking its head.
That is one heck of a speckled trout right there. Nice fish. Big old head on it, healthy. Look at that thing, dude.
That's a nice trout.
That's a really nice speckled trout.
Boy, he won that Little John. Yeah.
Mirror lure, baby. God, that's a pretty fish. Look at that thing. Woo. Big back, thick. Nice job, kid. That is one heck of a day you put together, my friend.
Thank you, man. Thank you. That was a good time, man.
Everything you thought to go do just kind of happened, and then we got some bonus fish in the cobia.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. What a great day.
Can't beat it.
This place is
Southwest Florida, South Seas.
magical. Magical place. Nice job, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Ha ha.